Over and over, time and time again, Ubisoft has continued to deliver mid video games. And it seems like over the past 10 years, they have not delivered a game that has pushed the boundaries of what gaming should be. They have not delivered that one game that is exceeding the expectations of players. When you hear Ubisoft, you know for the most part what type of video game you are going to be getting. They are now at a 10-year low in their stock, and investors are asking for structural changes from Ubisoft. So now the question remains, before we even get into what the investors are saying, before I even take a deep dive into the stocks, how did we get here? And it comes down to one thing that I previously mentioned in my intro, the video games. I can't even remember the last time they delivered a groundbreaking video game. Let's just look at the last couple years. Their most recent game was Star Wars Outlaws, a game not only riddled in controversy, but also a mediocre experience for most everybody that played that game. On top of that, the biggest release before Star Wars Outlaws was Skull and Bones, riddled in controversy in a game that was not only mediocre, it was just straight up ass. The game was horrible. There barely even was a game there to play. And they called this a quadruple A experience. The first ever quadruple A experience. Then you get to their Prince of Persia games, which honestly, the Prince of Persia games have been relatively good, but still a little bit more into the sector of mediocre and them not knowing how to push the Prince of Persia franchise further. Go back even further now to the Avatar game, Frontiers of Pandora, which was the most basic, bland survival crafting game they could have ever made. Games that literally, as streamers were playing it, were trying their hardest to not laugh at how mediocre and not fun the game actually was.
Hey, huge shout out to Ubisoft for sponsoring the stream for real, man. You can get this game on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, bro. Make sure y'all click the link in the panel.
Please click the link in the panel, y'all. Download the game yourself.
Check it out.
Very beautifully made game, and it probably gets even better as the game goes through. So please play it with your friends, your girlfriend. Like I said, I know a lot of y'all in relationships and y'all be bored at times. Go and throw a co-op game on. Maybe this the one.
I mean, why not?
You know what I'm saying? Your girl might really like this game.
Okay.
Man, I'm gonna play this off stream, man. We're gonna finish this mission up off stream. What's up, Dave?
And no, I am not even done, because I haven't even gotten to what they've done to the crew as a franchise as a whole, completely removing the crew games to even be played from anyone who used to buy them or who had previously bought them on PlayStation and downloaded them and paid for the license to play those games. The last game I genuinely remember Ubisoft creating that was a groundbreaking experience or something that players have stuck with and continue to play was Rainbow Six Siege. Rainbow Six Siege released in 2015, and their community has consistently come out and been pissed about new updates that they're bringing into the game. They completely ruined the entire story of the entire game. They just added a wheelchair operator into the game. There's stairs in the game. It's a shooting game. And you got a dude rolling around in a wheelchair? It doesn't make sense in any way whatsoever. And that's not even to mention how they've had now 3 Watch Dogs games that were all mediocre, not good. Immortals Phoenix Rising. I don't even know if you guys remember that game. Very mediocre, not great. And no, I'm still not done, because they also ruined one of my favorite franchises of all time, the Ghost Recon franchise. They also completely abandoned the Splinter Cell franchise. The last Splinter Cell game was made in 2013. That was right before their stock finally started rising. And on top of that, like I just mentioned, the last groundbreaking good game that they've released, which was Rainbow Six Siege in 2015, that as well is around the time their stock finally started to go up and rise to peaks that it has not gotten to since. This was 10 years ago. So now we're going to take a look at the Ubisoft stock prices. We're going to start with the last 5 days, and then we're going to keep and continuously expand that out until we can see kind of the whole picture here over the last 10 years, etc. So if you're starting just with the last 5 days, they have gone down over 23% in the last 5 days, from $3.30 all the way down to $2.54. Now, if we span this out to a month, as you can see here, when it started taking that decline was August 30th, 2024. Now, what's a big thing that happened on August 30th, 2024? Well, this is when Star Wars Outlaws released. So a lot of people are saying Star Wars Outlaws is the reason for this decline. Well, yes, it can be the reason for the decline within the past month, but there is a lot more going on here that I labeled at the start in the first couple minutes of this video, where Ubisoft has continuously released games riddled in controversy that have released as mediocre experiences, following the same Ubisoft formula that they have always put in pretty much all of their games. And it is stale and people are not enjoying it anymore. So if we go back out to 6 months, now this was August 30th, and this took a steep decline. But look at what's been going on over the last 6 months. They've already been in a relatively steep decline. Now, it's not as steep as it has been in the last couple days. That's because it'll tank, and then people will kind of try to buy it when it's low, thinking, oh, it can't get more rock bottom than this. Well, it's been getting more rock bottom than that. Because in the last 6 months, and now if we look at year to date, this has been catastrophic for them. But this is not the worst it can get for Ubisoft. Because when we look at the past year, and we look at the Skull and Bones release and how that affected them, and then we look at the Outlaws release and how that affected them, and we look at the Assassin's Creed Shadows controversy and how that affected them, this has been continuously tanking over the last year. Yes, this has tanked about 20-something%, but over a 1 year time period, they have tanked almost 60% in their stocks. This is unreal. This is almost unheard of, but it's because that they have had a pattern of behavior of releasing games that are not fun to play. Now we're going to expand this even out further into the past 5 years. And look at what we've seen. Just since 2021, it has been a continuous decline all the way since January 22nd, 2021. And then the last here we will look at Max, and this has been an absolute train wreck ever since down here 2011 it started to go up. 2013, that's the last Splinter Cell game that released. 2015, Rainbow Six Siege boost the popularity, and they were on a roll. They were on an absolute roll, and then absolute steep decline. People bought the bottom, it went back up a little bit, another steep decline over the past 3 years, and this has been a consistent issue for Ubisoft, and it's not going away. So what's happening? Because of these stock prices, what is going to happen to Ubisoft? Well, investors are going to make sure something happens to Ubisoft. So now let's finally get to what the investors are doing. This is an article from Rock Paper Shotgun. A lot of other different gaming publishers have talked about this, as well as some YouTubers as well. Go check out Young Yeah's video. Go check out Asmongold's video. He did a reaction of another video describing this situation. So Ubisoft investors are wanting to dethrone Ubisoft founders so that they can lay more developers off. A Ubisoft investor has written an open letter to Ubisoft's board outlining their deep dissatisfaction with the current performance and strategic direction of the company, and they are threatening a full-blown coup against the founders and their backers, Tencent. So going a little bit further into this, they say the main reason why the valuation is so low compared to the peers is that Ubisoft at current state is mismanaged and shareholders are hostages of the founders and Tencent who take advantage of them, and that management is focused on pleasing investors with beating quarterly results and not focused on long-term strategy to provide exceptional experience for gamers. So this goes back to they are creating mediocre games that are becoming stale for a lot of their audience. They go on to say, we cannot understand the decision-making process of current management that is focused on releasing multiple average games per year that are harming Ubisoft's reputation among gamers community instead of focusing to provide hit games within its exceptional franchise portfolio. There follows a breakdown of Ubisoft's handling of their games, frankly, which reads like a frothing forum post full of gamer punditry. Division Heartland, which was very much expected game from the gamers, was cancelled. Skull and Bones release was not a success. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown was okay, but not impressive, as nobody talks about the game anymore. Just want to say really quickly, just because nobody talks about a game does not mean it's not necessarily impressive. It might just be played out. But Rainbow Six Siege is doing great. Nevertheless, franchises such as Rayman, Splinter Cell, big one, For Honor, I literally forgot about that one, Watch Dogs are sleeping for years despite these games being loved by millions of players all around the world. The latest release of Star Wars Outlaws is expected to bring good numbers. It didn't bring what they expected. But recent reviews show the game was not 100% ready to release, despite the fact that the whole world was waiting for the open world game under the Star Wars franchise. Metacritic rating was a 76%, and the IGN gave it a 7 out of 10, which is a 5, which is quite good rating in our view. Now, how are these investors telling Ubisoft to fix this? They're saying the company needs to implement significant cost reductions and staff optimization to improve operational efficiency. So basically, what this is saying is they're spending too much creating a game that's going to come out and not make the money that it should be making. They're spending potentially over $100 million on some of these games and not seeing that return and seeing the profit margins that they are expecting to see. We also suggest that Ubisoft should consider selling certain studios that are not needed for development of the main IPs in the portfolio. Ubisoft has over 30 studios. It's obvious to every investor that this structure is too large for Ubisoft and its profitability going forward. Now, this is definitely an issue that I think we are seeing with a lot of big AAA game studios. They're almost too big to succeed at this point. There's so much money coming in. They're pandering to all of these different investors. They're pandering to their shareholders. They're trying to beat these quarterly meetings to make sure that their profit margins are just high enough to where they can keep pushing on, and then it becomes a total collapse. They're too big to succeed because they cannot have one sole vision on these games and actually push these games forward in the best way possible to make a good, groundbreaking experience for their gamers utilizing their large portfolio of IPs. So what am I expecting from all of this? What do I think is going to happen? Well, investors, shareholders, and Ubisoft are losing a lot of money. And in this business and in any business, money talks. When you're losing money, it's going to make you most likely make a change. I'm expecting a lot of leadership changes most likely within Ubisoft. I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of people laid off, not just because of investors telling them to lay people off, but because they're losing a hell of a lot of money. And what's the first thing that happens when you're losing money? You get rid of your labor and you try to increase efficiency within your company. So I'm expecting that to happen. I know there's a couple games on the slate, but if Assassin's Creed Shadows comes out and it's a complete bust and it's not looking the best, it is looking like it does have some promise, but it's definitely not looking the best that it can look as of right now. I think Ubisoft is going to be in a really bad space. I think what they really need to do is make games centered around their famous IPs that everyone loves and make these games not with the same Ubisoft formula we have seen over the past couple years. And if they do that, maybe they can start to rise, but I do kind of fear that Ubisoft is going to be a most likely dead company within the next couple years if a lot of these changes don't start getting made and don't start getting made pretty damn quickly. If you guys like this video, if you want to see more gaming news videos, please give me a like, please give me a sub. Comment down below what you think about all of this. If you think Ubisoft's going to die, if you think a lot of these changes are going to be made and they're going to start to climb back up. Yes, I did throw the glasses on. My eyes are killing me from looking at my little ring light. You can see the ring light right now. Yeah, let me know what you guys think about this. I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. So make sure you stay tuned for that and check me out on stream. I'm still playing Black Myth Wukong. I'm going to incorporate some Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. I've been absolutely loving that game. So yeah, see you guys later. Peace.